This is Math 6, Lesson 1-7, adding and subtracting decimals. Many times before we add or subtract decimals, we might estimate them to see if our answer is correct when we finally do the addition, because oftentimes we lose that decimal point or the decimal point gets put in the wrong place. One form of estimation is called front-end estimation. Front-end estimation is estimating by first adding the front-end digits and then estimating the remaining digits. Front-end estimation is similar to rounding, but it kind of combines rounding with front-end adding, which makes it a bit more accurate. Let's take a look at some examples. To use front-end estimation, you're going to add your front-end digits. You're going to round to estimate the sum of your remaining digits, and then they'll combine your two estimates. For example, let's take a look at number 1 here. 6.8, 4.65, and 2.125. If we add our front-end digits, which happens to be the 6, the 4, and the 2, we get 12. Those were all single digits, so 12 is the good estimation here. Okay, that's the adding, because they were all in the ones place. So if you carry, you get 12. Now I have 0.8, 0.65, and 0.125. 0.8, remember, the whole idea of estimating is to make it easier, not more difficult. So to make this easier, I'm going to round 0.8 to 1, whole number. 0.65, that's greater than half, so I'm going to round that up to 1. And 0.125, I'm going to round down to 0.1. So these would add to 2.1. If I add these two together, 12 and 2.1, I get 14.1. And that's a fairly reasonable estimation for these three numbers. Let's take a look at number 2. 25.1, 33.2, and 71.0. 25.1, 33.2, 71.0. If I was to add my front-end digits only, that would be these numbers right here. The 7, the 3, and the 2. 7 and 3 is 10, plus 2 is 12. However, these are in the tens position now. So technically, I would have the 2 here. I would carry my 1, so this makes it 120. Because if I added 20 and 30 and 70, I would get 120. So you have to pay attention to that. It's not going to be 12, it's going to be 120. Now I have 5.1 left over, 3.2 left over, 1.0 left over. I'd like to round these all to the same place value, so I'm going to round them to the nearest whole number. 5.1 would round to 5, 3.2 rounds to 3, and 1 rounds to 1. So these add up to 9. So I have 120 plus 9, which makes this 129. So my front-end estimation for this number is 129. Remember, when you add or subtract your decimals, you first must align your decimal points. Annex zeros as necessary, then add or subtract as you do with whole numbers, making sure you borrow when necessary. It is really important, though, to make sure you line up your decimal points. Professional ice hockey rinks can be from 25.9 meters to 30 meters wide. What is the difference between these widths? So, if I want to know difference in mathematics means subtraction. And we always subtract the smaller number from the larger number until we get into higher level math classes, because we can't deal with negative numbers right now. So I'm going to have 30.0 and I'm going to subtract 25.9. When I go to subtract, I cannot take 9 from 0, so I must borrow. I must borrow from the 0. I can't borrow from the 0, so I have to borrow from the 30. I'm going to borrow from the 30 and make it 29. If I borrow from the, because that would have been 30, would have been 10, I'm going to get a 10 right there. 10 minus 9 is 1. Bring down my decimal point. Always bring your decimal point straight down. Always line up decimal points when adding and subtracting. 9 minus 5 is 4. 2 minus 2 is 0, so it's 4.1. So the difference in the widths is 4.1 meters. always remember, word problems should be written in a complete sentence, always labeling all your answers.